that illnesses have disappeared in our society is in part because of vaccination. And if people don't have to take them, then they won't take them, and then we won't be as healthy a society. Your response?
Yeah, I mean, I understand that argument, and I think it's certainly a reasonable argument, a reasonable position to have. I would say that the reason that I made this statement, it wasn't, you may, if you listen to the speech, I didn't say anything about any vaccines being effective or ineffective, because it's not about that. It's probably actually, during this job, I mostly had scientific discussions, but this one is actually more political, because it is a philosophical discussion. And the philosophical debate is about whether parents' rights should prevail when it comes to the health of their children, or whether the government's rights or the government's interests, however it perceives those interests should prevail. And I personally have zero doubt that the correct position, particularly for society that values freedom and wants to preserve freedom, is that parents must prevail. Parents must prevail.
I think that's demonizing government. I think it's demonizing government. I do. I think it's a piece of sophistry. I really do, Doc, and I'll tell you why. I'm all in favor. Yeah. Again, I want to say what's right for my kid, but it's a piece of sophistry, Doc, because that's not what it's about. My right to control myself, my free will, ends at your nose, right? We all know this analogy, right? Your ability to use your fist ends where my nose begins, Doc. You don't get to infringe on my rights by exercising your own. And it seems like here you're making it okay by demonizing the state. The less the state has control over us, the better.
Yeah. That's actually another debate, but I'm not trying to open that area. It's interesting what you just said, Mr. Cuomo, because you just talked about one party imposing on the rights of the other party. And if you listen to what you're saying, you're basically saying that this is a situation where the government gets to impose on the individual's rights and preferences. And people can believe that. I personally believe that that's wrong, that the more freedom that we give people, particularly over their bodies, we're not talking about seatbelts here. We're not talking about, other things that we do in society. You got to pay for stuff when you get your gas. You don't get to get your gas and walk away. We're not talking about that. We're talking about your body. And if you don't have control over that in terms of what you put in your body, I mean, what's the whole point? Why are we here?
I got it.
So I hear what you're saying, Mr. Cuomo, but literally your words are supporting the actual thing that you're saying you're against.
And this is bigger than science. As you guys know, the floor is going viral. Liberals are hating on our state again, right? Saying how reckless and dangerous this policy position is. Oh my God, the Florida Surgeon General is demonizing the government. Like the government hasn't been wrong about things before. And I always find it strange. How the hell did we get away with a government mandating us to take a product? For what? Imagine if the government mandated you to own a gun. Y'all guys will be saying, oh, the Republicans, the NRA paid the Republicans to lobby for it. Now we're all forced to have this gun when we don't even need protection from criminals. Right? Y'all be saying that, but for the vaccine, y'all quiet. Oh, this is for the health of the children. When right now we're going on debates on what environmental factors is causing this rise in autism compared to the 70s, 60s, right? And many people are making correlations that I think the left don't really like. Florida Surgeon General just went head to head with Cuomo and Tapper. You saw the intro. That was Cuomo. As you saw, Cuomo tried to, say, hey, you're demonizing the government. And then at the end, the Surgeon General saying, hey, this is bigger than science. This is a philosophical question. Hey, should you have the right to control what enters your body or not? Yes. Obvious question, yes. Does parents have the right to override what the government says? Yes. Especially in America? Yes. You shouldn't be mandating me to take anything I don't feel comfortable for my child to take. I have concerns about the MMR. You better not force that on my kid. I'm sorry. Nope. And many people are having these debates out in the open, and I like where the conversation is going. Because end of the day, you can't claim to be a scientist or trust the science when science whole premise is based on doubt. I doubt what you say is true. You have to prove my doubt. That's what science is based on. And right now, Americans have a doubt on the data and the information that was highlighted and provided for us, especially with the Senate hearing that I just showed you with RFK, how he made claims that the CDC was destroying studies that highlighted possible correlations with autism and vaccines, right? And this is the fallacy of authority that I believe liberal bias and many of these experts use and abuse for their own personal, political, or financial gain. And I think I want to put this clip here of Joe Rogan debating on his show about a correlation or a pattern he's recognizing. And people ain't taking the BS no more.
Let's get to the bottom
of
that.
It's like anorexia.
What's causing all that? How come 1 in every 12 kids who's a boy in California has autism now? Because that's what's going on. That's what's going on in California, which has one of the strictest fucking vaccine policies. 1 in 12. Did I say vaccines cause autism? Maybe I will.
Well, RFK's getting to that, yeah. And now Florida doesn't demand vaccines.
Yeah,
that's
dangerous to me.
Yeah.
I knew you'd jump on that train.
Of course, it's dangerous, Brian. What are you talking about?
Tetanus,
all vaccines.
tetanus.
No.
Just go down the road, Ron?
You need to bail on the tetanus thing because Suzanne Humphreys.
Educate his ass.
Suzanne Humphreys explained tetanus.
She's not a vaccinologist. I know that woman. What are you talking about? So you're saying we shouldn't have vaccines?
She's a medical doctor that absolutely understands tetanus. She said tetanus, all you have to do is keep the wound open and clean it.
Oh, that's such bullshit.
It's not bullshit.
God,
it's not bullshit. Do you know how many people die of tetanus
Holy
every year?
fucking
Very
shit.
few.
What about
Okay,
polio?
so let me ask you a question, Mr. Joe Rogan, Mr. Scientist. Are you saying that we shouldn't have...
Don't do that. Don't call me Mr. Scientist. I'll start mocking you, and it's so much easier to mock you.
So are we not... So you don't believe in vaccines? You don't think we should have vaccines?
It's not that I don't believe in vaccines.
What are you saying?
It's I don't think you should give a kid a Hep B vaccine when they're a baby.
Different subject.
MMA vaccine is absolutely connected to a host of serious, debilitating fucking problems that kids have gotten from them. There's a lot of problems because they don't test vaccines in a double-blind, placebo-controlled setting.
Hold it.
They test them against other vaccines. You know that, right?
Yes, I do. Excuse me. Let me just say something. Yes, you're right. You can make the argument for Hep B. Here's why. Because the chances of a child coming in contact with the kind of activity that causes Hep B is different. So now
Sexually
you say,
transmitted disease and
right.
needles.
So now you say this. That chance is zero. The chance for vaccine injury with the Hep B is not zero. It's non-zero. Okay, so I understand that math. Okay, what I'm trying to say to you is that there are certain diseases. Pick up a history book. Smallpox, diphtheria, mumps.
Have you ever looked at
tetanus, polio, paralytic diseases?
Have you ever polio? Please stop.
Yes. No, I won't. I won't. I know you think it's just. I've heard Susan Humphreys.
This is a long conversation that we're not going to have on this podcast because I'm going to get angry because I've researched this for years.
Right.
Let's just.
But you're not a scientist.
I don't have to be a scientist to know that.
Yes, you do.
No, Brian, shut the fuck up. I don't have to be a scientist to read research to understand that they were spraying DDT all over the fucking country when everybody was getting polio. Do you know that?
Yes,
you know
I do.
the first instances of polio, they happened in rural communities where they were all farmland and agriculture, and then cows were getting them, and horses were getting them, and dogs were getting them.
Let me make a statement.
They were calling it paralytic polio.
Do you agree with the following statement? It's not just...
I'm not going to do this with you,
but
Brian.
It's not just about...
I brought up vaccines.
It's not just about...
And it's crazy to me how liberal bias strikes again, is that a lot of the angles they try to go with this guy is they try to label him as like he's kooky, he's crazy, he like, oh, you're crazy for pushing this stuff. He's not pushing anything on it. He's not banning vaccines. He's just saying that he's not going to the government's not going to force it on you. That's it. And for some reason, the liberal left, right? Maybe they're in the pocket of big pharma, just like, leftists like to make the argument that conservatives are in the pocket of the NRA. We're saying you're in the pocket of these medical institutions that's been giving us bad outcomes. That's been essentially accused of covering up data that hurts a certain financial interest they may have. And now that the concerns of that is out in the forefront, you guys are continuing peddling the same playbook of trying to smear and characterize people as loony or crazy because they believe that a correlation exists between a procedure or a product and a negative outcome and side effect. You saw what Joe Rogan just said. He said, hey, 1 in 12 kids for California with the strictest vaccine mandates, they have a huge... Explain that for us. Because if you can't tell us, okay, we just got better at diagnosing autism. RFK's point, the guy that a lot of these liberals like to call kooky and crazy, RFK made a good point. He said, if you got better at diagnosing autism, how come you haven't been able to diagnose increased autism in older Americans from the baby boomer generations, Gen X, millennials, why you ain't being able to get everyone over the age of 45, 55? You should be able to find and diagnose their autism. It's only happening in younger people. That means this increase or this spike of autism is only occurring in the youth. Something changed. We need to find the cause. Because at the end of the day, an effect exists, and an effect exists. All you have to do is reverse engineer it. It has to be a cause. And they don't want us to find out the cause. I don't know why. Maybe there is some merit. And this is my part, and then I'll continue with the video. This is one of the reasons why a lot of people support and trust RFK. Because RFK made a claim that, hey, CDC was destroying data that proved the correlation between autism and vaccines. And if you guys are going this out of your way to try to dismiss the cause as if you already know the cause, or you don't want us to find out the cause, or you're scared that the cause may actually be proven true, it gives us even more reason for RFK to be in power, because we want transparency. We want accountability. We want the facts and truth so we can make accurate and actually know what we're getting ourselves into when we say yes to a vaccine for our children. Because these people don't seem to understand that if your kid gets hurt or some negative thing happened to your child and you don't know what caused it, they don't understand what kind of mental anguish that can cause on the mind of a parent. And they think this is just going to go away by calling us kooky, crazy, loony. Nah. And the Florida general, he understands that. The Surgeon General understands that. But I digress. Without further ado, let's get into this conversation of Jake Tapper trying to gaslight this man into thinking he's crazy. Or at least gaslight us into thinking this man is crazy for nixing a vaccine mandate. I digress. Let's get into it.
You're making a decision that no other Surgeon General in the United States has done. It goes against what's recommended by every top medical organization, including the AMA, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the Boston Center on Emerging Infectious Diseases. It goes against what...
Fallacy of authority, right? Go to these organizations, all these institutions. I can write all that off as they all have financial motive for having a vaccine mandate. Like, imagine that. Your product was mandatory regardless of if it's needed or not needed, right? You that's billions of dollars you're just guaranteed because the government is forcing people to administrate this product to people. You have a financial interest to go against what he has to say. That's how I look at it as an American. You didn't make the case for how this is threatening, how this is dangerous. And he already admitted that this is a philosophical thing. Hey, parents should be able to overrule the government. These are the parents' kids. The government is, you can't prove harm to the child. This is not a seatbelt, right? It's not obvious what's going on. It's up to you to bring the evidence, to bring the facts and say, hey, look, it's completely safe. Look, we did it. You say we didn't do double testing against placebos. Here you go. We did it. And it's still proved right. Okay, are your concerns a strange parent? Yes, I feel more comfortable now allowing this procedure on my child. That's all parents are asking for. And you don't want to give it to us. And you wonder why we're suspicious of the CDC, public health, a lot of these medical experts. You wonder why American parents are looking at you with a side eye. But I digress.
Parents in Florida want 82% of parents in Florida schools said public schools should require vaccines for measles and polio with health and religious exemptions. It goes against what Senator Rick Scott, a Republican from Florida, wants. He thinks sticking with a religious exemption is fine. It goes against the Florida Medical Association, which in the past has backed Governor DeSantis. So all of these people are wrong, and you are.
I like how you throw that in there, like, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. Oh, you could lose money. You could lose political. Oh, your party. Who cares? You're allowed to disagree with people who vote the same way you do, right? Like, who cares? Who cares? His point. Go ahead. What he's stating. Hey, parents should be freely choose to yay or nay, and shouldn't be forced to make certain decisions. And then when certain negative ramifications happen, based on the decision that either the parents was forced to do or pressured to do, there's no recourse for it. So if there's no recourse, then the parents shouldn't be obligated or forced to get the vaccine in the first place. That's what I'm saying. That's my argument. If you're not willing to take liability for forcing a parent to make a certain decision and certain bad outcomes happen, you should be held liable for that. But you don't want no liability for that. Make it make sense. But you're requiring parents to make a certain decision. Make it make sense. You can't. So if you're not liable for if you happen to do a vaccine, whatever, oh, that's not the vaccine, downplaying it, try to say there's no way it could be the vaccines. Vaccines has been tested to be safe. And then RFK brings out, oh, well, they only test certain things. They haven't really do the same kind of testing that the people in Europe do. Hey, how come people in Europe, they have less vaccine schedules than we do? You have to confront those questions. As a medical expert, you have to confront those questions. You can't just explain away and say, oh, there's nothing wrong with having more vaccines than Europe. The left always love to say, oh, we need to be more like Europe, more like Europe. Okay, Europe only has these certain vaccines. How come we got almost 10, 20 times more, 20 more vaccines than that is required than they do? Y'all don't want to be like Europe no more. Make it make sense. In the pocket of Big Pharma, huh?
Right.
Again, sort of casting it in that way is not what I would do. Is not how I look at it.
It's a fact.
You look at the last. I would say what I would say is that, my history, if you will, is I share what I believe is the right thing to do, whether it's popular or not. I've been doing it for years.
And another thing with the banner, right? Look, State of the Union. Medical experts warn Florida's plan threatens public health, according to what? I don't care what the expert says. The expert's been wrong a lot of times. When DeSantis decided to open Florida in 2022, you experts said that it was going to cause thousands of deaths in Florida, and that didn't happen. New York still had more deaths than Florida. Make it make sense. But you guys were also concerned about what was going on in Florida. Your medical experts said the same thing during COVID. No one trusts you guys anymore. I don't care what medical expert says. I care about what data says. Data suggests that this threatens America's public health. Okay, let me go look at the resource. Let me go see if it's credible to me. Let me see at the methodologies, making sure no funny business is going on, and see how they came to that conclusion. Then I'll make my decision. I'm not ruled by experts. Like these people treat experts, like I said, like science has essentially become somewhat of a religion now to these people. Some type of secular religion where these experts are like priests. Oh, the priest said this. Oh my God, we can't go against what the priest said. No, science is based on doubt. These people have a theory that this will threaten Florida's public health. Let's see. And people will still, he's not preventing people from getting the vaccine. And this is the same argument that not Warren Buffett, Elizabeth Warren did on RFK. RFK said, I wouldn't recommend the COVID vaccine. And Elizabeth took that and said he's saying don't take the. I'm like, how you interpret that? If your thing was so good, you won't need to force people to do it. But here's people on the left doing it now. But I digress. Let's continue.
I certainly did it during the COVID-19 pandemic. I thought that the lockdowns would be harmful. I said that as early as March 2020 after taking care of patients at UCLA Hospital, some of whom had COVID. We as a state and I as an individual recommended against the mRNA COVID-19 vaccines for children, healthy children, very early, 2 years ago or so. And that was the correct decision there. And I've made a series of just, and I'm not alone. It just so happens that most of the people who, have larger microphones tend to align with the American Medical Association and the American Academy of Pediatrics. But we've been right over and over again because what we've said has been based on data and common sense. In this particular area, this is really just about, it's really about ethics. I mean, is it appropriate for a government or any other entity to dictate to you what you should put in your body? No, it's absolutely not appropriate. You have sovereignty over your body. I mean, that's where it starts, and you should be able to decide what you put in your body
and have data and resources to make effective decisions based on your interest. And that's what RFK is saying. RFK is saying, okay, this is what the American people, we're going to make America healthy again. This is how we'll do it. We'll do the same level of testing that Europe does. Gold standard testing. You're going to test against a placebo, not against other vaccines. Makes no damn sense. And then we'll test effectiveness. Right? And when that information comes out, here's all the transparent data. Here's how we came to these conclusions, America. You make your own decisions. We're not going to force anything on you. And that's it. That's a philosophical question. And he's right. As Surgeon General, he was right on a lot of things. Hey, we should open. Look at the data. Kids are not getting COVID. COVID ain't hurting the young ones like the teachers think it is. We're not going to get swept up in your fear narrative, left. And this is all the leftists got. This is all these progressives got. Fear. All they got to do is spread fear. They think it's not going to work no more. We got 4 years of you spreading fear. We caved to you. Joe Biden became president, made everything worse. We was like, F that. We ain't following you no more. And you think you're going to build your credibility by trying to characterize people as crazy because they want more transparency, accountability on the CDC and a lot of these public health institutions? If they were giving good results, look at the results. Like, is there any result that the American Association of Public Health can brag about? Americans have some of the highest obesity rates in America. We have some of the shortest lifespans compared to the rest of the world. Our food, look at the food. Look at what's in our food. But you're not getting held accountable for these negative, bad results. If what you were doing was working, no one would be complaining about the current state of things.
That's where it starts. And you should be able to decide what you put in your body. And if you can't decide what you put in your body, I mean, what do you actually, what can you decide? So it really is an issue that is in that domain.
Decision to what? What he's making a decision, not to force something on you, not to force a decision not to auto make a decision for you on the behalf of you. Oh yeah, you got to get this vaccine. Oh yeah. Oh, you want to go to school? Oh yeah, your kids need to get this vaccine. Well, I have some concerns about this particular vaccine. Oh, nothing to worry about. The test was invalid, and but that don't answer my question. I still have concerns. I don't care if you invalidate the test. There's no other, no one did another study to say it didn't do this thing. You guys didn't repeat it. Like, come on. I don't trust the current thing it is. I want to delay that. There's stats out there. Like, I'll give an example about one of the vaccines, right? I forget which one it was. I think it's the MMR vaccine or whatever. If they did a correlation where if people who got the MRR at the time that was scheduled for them to get it, they're like 120% more likely to have autism than kids that they delayed the MMR vaccine. That's one correlation I'm noticing, right? And then these people in the comment section will get mad at you for bringing it up like it ain't true. I stated a fact. Kids who gets a delayed dose of the MMR vaccine are 120% less likely to get it than people who get it on schedule. And you wonder why there's these movements on TikTok and online of moms not wanting to vaccine their babies. Even doctors don't want to vaccine their babies, and they work in the profession. Make it make sense. Oh, I don't want to expose my daughter, my young baby daughter, to that level of mercury at that young of an age. Their bodies can't quite handle mercury that young. But you want, first they come out of the womb, you want to give them a hepatitis B vaccine? What? This is the problem. The medical institutions, the public health institutions, they never question or try to fine tune none of the things that they push on us, right? Hey, do a baby really need a hepatitis B minute they come out of the womb? No, let's eliminate that. Here's the updated schedule. Hepatitis B is no longer required at birth. But they don't do that. Why? Financial interest. My assumptions here. Financial interest. That's why. Getting your vaccine on a mandate automatically generates billions of dollars for big pharma. And when you hear the data, California boys, 1 out of 12 develop autism. Damn. I bet you if you check where autism comes from a regional point of view and then you look at the vaccine, you can find a bunch of correlations. And all RFK says is, I want to know what's actually causing this. I want to see what is the biggest factor of causing autism. The so-called medical experts are throwing a hissy fit, donating millions of dollars to try to get RFK out. You got Chris Christie, let me stop. You got Chris Christie coming out here trying to say, call RFK a disgrace and he's a disaster. Your weight is a disaster here, Chris Christie. I don't know, you ain't talking. I don't want to take no health-related advice from this guy. But here he is, not missing the whole point of why RFK is in the position of power that he is in today. Why people wanted him to be HHS secretary in the first place. Don't get it. RFK is not in there to empower you medical experts. He's in there to hold you a mirror to your face. Hey, y'all could do better. Y'all could be better. and I'm gonna fire y'all, and I'm gonna put a new people in there to challenge y'all because y'all need that. Because y'all wasn't able to self-correct, so now I'm here. That's RFK. That's RFK's purpose in my political calculus. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts and perspective in the comment section below. Do I make sense? Does the Florida general make sense? Do you believe it's a philosophical one, or do you believe that the government should have a right to force vaccine mandates on the populace for the common good? Whoever gets to decide what that is. Because at the end of the day, in my estimation, it's always morally wrong when you force someone to do something. Right? When Biden forced people to get the vaccine or lose your job, lose your livelihood, lose your ability to provide for your family, I saw that as evil instantly. I said, that's an evil policy. I don't care how more or what the intentions of that policy was. The minute you force somebody to do something against their will, I automatically categorize it as evil. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts and perspective in the comment section below. I'll be interested to hear what you guys have to say. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please share this video if it's so kind. It really does help me on the algorithm, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.